Hi, my name is Shrey, and with me are Shrill, Noah, Harmiksha, and Monica. Today we'll be presenting our plan for the development of our family farm. We'll start off by discussing what plants we chose and why, as well as how we're going to implement crop rotation. Further on, we'll explain how the farm is going to be laid out and some of our plans to ensure the sustainability of the aquatic ecosystem that is right next to the farm. Later on, we'll discuss pest and wildlife management, and finally, how we're going to finance the entire operation and the various social benefits that will come out of it.
First and foremost, it's essential for us to understand that we have very limited funding and therefore we are working on a low budget with a need for efficient farming. The length of the growing season will depend on the crops that we have planted, ranging around 2 months. Our farm is located in southern Ontario. As a result, the hardiness zone that we fall under is Zone 6. Therefore, we must consider which species of plants and shrubs will survive and thrive at our farm. Our climate zone is diverse as we have humid summers and brutal winters. One of the most important factors that we have to take into consideration is the fact that we are situated beside the Elbow River. Hence, we have to create a barrier to protect our crops. However, at the same time, we do not want to cause habitat fragmentation, as that can also have severe impacts on the wildlife in the area.
We understand that having a completely organic farm poses threats to our revenue, whereas conventional farming can cause a significant reduction in biodiversity, despite the fact that the yield will be higher. As a result, we have decided that we will incorporate a hybrid system where we use conventional methods for the soybean, sweet corn, and asparagus crops, while attempting to develop an organic apple orchard and strawberry farm. Beside the crop, a 30-meter riparian buffer strip is designed adjacent to a 20-meter critical function zone to shade the river that is beside the farm and separate it in order to avoid contamination. Having a riparian buffer strip also allows the water quality of the river to improve and remain consistent. The critical function zone and buffer strip will preserve safety of the crops in harsh conditions as a result of the reforestation. This riparian buffer zone will also be helpful in the conservation of pollinators such as bees by providing a habitat. Furthermore, around the perimeter of the river and at the end of the buffer zone, we plan on introducing pollinator habitats by planting native plants. However, provided that we are planting apples, strawberries, soybeans, sweet corn, and asparagus, we want to minimize the exposure that birds have to our crops. The birds may pose threats to the progress of our crops, even though they may be beneficial in helping us reduce the invasion of insects and pests and act as insectivores. Our cover crop consists of crown vetch and mulching. A combination of these for our cover crop will minimize erosion and also maintain moisture within the soil. In addition, the mulching will maintain a cool temperature and prevent the dehydration.
We decided to create a vegetable and fruit farm and use asparagus and sweet corns in our farms along with other crops such as apples, strawberries, and soybeans. Since crop rotation will require multiple crops with varying macronutrient ratios, we decided to choose plants that require more potassium than other macronutrients. We know that asparagus and sweet corn need less potassium relative to other nutrients in order to avoid induced deficiencies. That is why we limit our crops to those that do not require nitrogen or phosphorus instead of potassium. Also, given that the soil near the Elbow River contains low phosphorus levels, it will be difficult to grow any asparagus. That is also the same reason why, in one crop rotation, asparagus will be planted last, so that the soil levels are suitable for growth. The crops that we will be using to prevent induced deficiencies are apple trees, strawberries, and soybeans. A benefit of having all these crops grown is the biodiversity, which can help provide a stable ecosystem with its own pollinators and pest controls. We chose these three crops for other reasons as well. For example, apple trees have deep extensive roots that increase the permeability of the soil, while also providing more pores, making the soil more healthy. However, to avoid competition, since some crops are grown during similar times, we only need one tree crop to prevent competition with other trees that have extensive roots. Another benefit of having apple trees is the bonus of hosting other social events that can bring in more profits, such as pick your own apples.
In the late of winter, we will be growing soybeans, which require a soil pH of 6 to 7, and that will be established from the foliage of the apple trees. Soybeans are good because not only they can be sold as food, but they could also produce oil, which is an industry we should be capitalizing on. Not only that, it could fix nitrogen, making the soil around it overall healthier for other crops, and it could be stored for 9 years dehydrated. Now, the only problem is that the soybeans have contaminants that could be in runoffs and that could pollute the river, the river nearby. That is why we're having lots of measures to minimize those runoffs.
Finally, asparagus will be planted roughly the same time as strawberries, yet they require different soil conditions. For one, the soil must be slightly alkaline compared to all the other plants, as the asparagus has a nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium ratio of 10 to 20 to 10, thus eliminating the possibility of induced deficiency. Asparagus also has deeper roots, allowing for it to be grown with strawberries as a companion. As discussed previously, since it has deeper roots compared to that of strawberries, this allows for less competition yet better use of the nutrients in the soil in the top and bottom layers. And this encourages better growth for not only those two plants, but all of them, since the growth of asparagus and the apple tree roots can stir up the soil, make it more stable, and allow nutrients to have an easier time to circulate from the bottom to top layers. From there, the harvesting of apples begin, and the crop rotation begins again with the apples. Having 5 plants also has its benefits, as it is more pest resistant, disease resistant, it allows for more biodiversity, and it promotes more pollinators, to name just a few benefits.
Alright, let's get down to what everyone cares about the most, money. Based on the most recent average calculations provided by Statistics Canada, we were able to come to the consensus that our business would be a little inexpensive at first. However, sustainable practices can allow us to achieve an optimal revenue. Developing the apple orchard would approximately cost $3,240.70. This includes the planting of all apple trees. Soybeans are actually very profitable with a low risk, as they are one of the most commonly sold products from farmers of Ontario. Strawberries will cost approximately $1,838 for simply the plantation process. In terms of irrigation, our total cost for the asparagus, corn, soybean, apples, and strawberries comes down to approximately $110,825 for irrigation. Although the cost is high, drip irrigation is one of the most efficient methods, as it prevents the runoff of water and minimizes the wastages of it too. After 3 years, we will also begin using rainwater harvesting, as it is one of the most inexpensive methods to conserve water for reuse. Finally, it is crucial that any runoff from all this farming activity is properly filtered so that the wetlands near the Elbow River aren't harmed. The riparian habitats, which can provide water filtration and wildlife settlements along the 50-meter buffer strip, would contain alternating rows of shrubs such as willows and trees such as maple. This will ensure that the soil and vegetation nearby is not degraded and is stable over time. The total cost of placing these trees and shrubs will approximately be $1,800.
However, money isn't the only thing this farm produces, as it can also benefit society in many ways. First of all, by creating a successful, sustainable farm, we can lead to future employment for other residents in the area, which not only increases our personal wealth, but helps boost the economy of the village. This in turn can help make the village more prosperous, which can lead to further growth later on. Furthermore, by having a model farm and properly balancing sustainable practices with smart fiscal decisions, we can teach other farmers in the area and ensure that the next generation will follow suit and learn our way of farming. This will help to sustain the land and water in the area and make sure that all future farming will be sustainable and good for the environment as well as our pocketbooks. Moreover, by selling our soybeans and corns for the production of oils and bioethanol, we can help innovate society and do our part in making society even more green, which will help all of us.
Come join us at our family farm as we open in 2018.